Before we start, I would like you to know that the poll for naming this kitten is now up. On to the story. So keep on going with your silly dream by Piter on AO3. This fic may include suicidal thoughts. That is your warning. Chapter 12. Am I really doing this? Get the hell out of my way, damn nerd, Bakugo roared. Izuku yelped and, oh no. He had just dodged the attack from Kacchan. If it had been some street thug, cool, great even, but not Kacchan. Why would the nerd be able to avoid that hit? Izuku slowly looked up and at the face of Bakugo. And shit. He'd never seen him that pissed. He meant to apologize. He did. Unexpectedly, he felt something else bubble up in his throat. Was this how Kacchan always felt? Izuku clenched his fists. I'm very sorry, Kacchan. It won't happen again. Izuku bowed, then straightened, looking anywhere but at the fuming blonde. At the bruise he knew he'd left. He could feel the heavy weight of his mom's stare. The principal said something about suspension, but Izuku didn't hear it. He wasn't sure he cared enough to listen. It was all the more reason to leave, wasn't it? Izuku swallowed hard. His hands were shaking, his fingers were numb, and his heart was thumping painfully fast in his ears. He had sworn to himself that if things got better, easier, he'd stick around. He was going to leave tonight, 2 weeks after he'd first got the idea. His mom had left an hour ago after a long talk. She told him she knew he didn't do it without a reason, and that she was there for him. She's told him to rest for the next 3 days of his suspension. He shook his head, still working up the nerve for what he was about to do. But while it was unpleasant, it was necessary. Izuku was, as a whole, incredibly plain. He wasn't large and didn't have any mutations that made him stick out. His face was about as ordinary as you could get. The wild green hair, though, that could cause problems. He had already gone through and cut larger chunks of his hair off, so the razor could run smoother. But now, with it in his hand, it felt so heavy. He thought of the permanent expression of worry and guilt his mom wore when she thought he wasn't looking. He thought of Kacchan telling him to take a swan dive off the roof. The way the other kids laughed. The way the teachers never moved a finger to help. He thought of All Might, whose posters still hung proudly in Izuku's room, despite the gut-wrenching betrayal at being told he'd never be good enough, and the knowledge All Might wasn't as invincible as he claimed. Well, they say hair held memories, right? Quickly, the electronic razor was powered on, and Izuku was sporting a buzz cut before he knew it. You could hardly tell the color of his hair was, with it this short. Left with nothing to frame his face, Izuku looked different. He looked older. He had bags under his eyes, and the new bruise from his earlier brawl with Kacchan stuck out sharply against his pale, freckled skin. He thought of the bruises and nearly healed scars that were hidden beneath his clothing. Izuku sighed and swept his hair into a trash bag. If he left it here, they may find out he buzzed it off. It was best to wait until later to dispose of it. He'd just bring it with him for now. Izuku put on a surgical mask, and then a beanie over his fresh do, or more like lack of a do. Despite the decent temperature, he wore jeans, a t-shirt, a white hoodie, and a black jacket. He wore plain white shoes, the less recognizable the better. It was 11 at night, so not like anybody would be looking yet. He shook his head and refocused on packing. He had a backpack used to store plenty of non-perishable foods and water, his toothbrush and paste, a couple knives, plus several sticks of deodorant and other hygienic products. In his repurposed satchel bag, he'd managed to cram most of his wardrobe, underwear and socks included, into it. Towards the bottom were the necessities, clothing components to his vigilante, or as the public had dubbed him, Yahoo outfit. His red shoes were tied by the laces to the strap of the yellow bag. The issue, he'd be lugging around a baseball bat to the location he'd decided to duck in, plus a small box containing all of his intact journals. Well, again, it was 11 at night. Hopefully no one would be out at this time. According to his past research, no one that was out should care enough to do anything about some teen moving out. He had the route planned in his head. The way there he could lose the trail of the cameras. It was totally packed. No one would miss him. Why hadn't he just left already? His room looked empty, aside from all of the hero merchandise he was leaving behind. Izuku swallowed past the burning in his throat. Well, he had time to write a goodbye or two. That was the end of chapter 12 of So Keep On Going With Your Silly Dream by Piter on AO3. On to the next chapter. Chapter 13. Goodbye 1. Dear Mom. Hey Mom, I hope work was good. I'm sorry for leaving so suddenly, but I really can't do it anymore. I'm so tired of this place, and I'm so tired of burdening you. I can't take all the doubt or the scorn or the insults anymore. I need to go out and do my own thing, become my own person. I don't want to do something I may regret and something that'll hurt you a lot more than me leaving will. But if I stay here, I'll do something I can never fix. I know I will. This isn't your fault, Mom. I love you so, so, so much. And I'm sorry for hurting you like this. I hope you can forgive me one day. I know writing more will only hurt you worse. So I'll stop here. Please take care of yourself. Remember, I'm okay and I love you. Love, Izuku. That is the end of chapter 13, Goodbye 1, of So Keep On Going With Your Silly Dream by Piter on AO3. On to the next chapter. Chapter 14, Goodbye 2. Hey, Kachan, I know you said, never contact you through your phone or else you'd block me, but sorry. I didn't do that. I thought about writing you a letter, but it just didn't really feel like enough. Anyways, do you remember when we were, 4? It was before the river and those other kids, and way before our quirks. You said that me and you, we were like brothers. That you loved me and would, no matter what, you'd always have each other. We'd always have each other. It was at some sleepover my mom let you stay since your mom was not well. I just I I want to let you know my mom is always here for you. We don't get along anymore, but you're still my brother. That won't ever change. I'm sorry I ruined us though. But I'm not going to be around here. Not anymore. I'm leaving Kachan. Just like you wanted. I'd wish you luck on your en- entrance exams, but, well, I know you'll get into UA. Plus Ultra, right? I should wrap it up now. I doubt you really care. You can delete this. If you are still listening, please take care of my mom. Don't let her blame herself. Make sure she knows I love her. And Kachan, I really do want to be just like you still. I always say All Might is my favorite and that he's number one, but, well, you're mine. And I love you like a brother. I really, really do. But I'm a mess right now. God, I'm sorry. I have to leave you to be better, to be more like you. I'm sorry for getting in your way. I never, and I mean never, meant to. That's all. I'll stop talking. I should have wrote a letter. You know how I am about rambling. That was a lot. Sorry, and thank you. Goodbye now, Kachan. That was the end of chapter 14. If you like this story, please go and support the original author.